When you think of the USA, don't picturesque towns along roaring rivers come to mind. Charming fences, smiling neighbors, and the warm scent of apple pie wafting from the corner bakery. Yes, those towns exist. But what about the other side of the map? The side without postcards, tourist brochures, and sometimes even people. There, hidden in the nooks and crannies of the mountains, are towns you'll find hard to believe exist. Their populations sometimes don't even reach the fingers on one hand. Sometimes they're just plain zero. But their stories, the chills they create, those are endless. Today we explore 10 towns hidden in the most remote mountainous regions of the US that will make you ask, where is this? Is this place real? Some have been burning underground for 60 years. If you steal from some, you'll be cursed. In others, the last 5 people left give everyone who comes from outside the same look. Are you going to get lost too? Subscribe and turn on notifications, because you might accidentally end up in these zip codes on your next road trip. And trust me, you'll want to have watched this video when that happens. Ready? Let's get started. And I'll tell you now, the place I saved for last, it's different, very different. Thurmond, West Virginia. Imagine a town. Official population, 5. Yes, 5 people. Not 500, not 5,000, just 5. You couldn't even form a basketball team because there are no substitutes. Thurmond is tucked away deep in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia, right in the heart of New River Gorge National Park. In the early 1900s, this place was completely different. Coal mining boomed, and the town was home to over 500 people. Trains passed by dozens of times a day, and taverns were packed. Back then, Thurmond was the busiest, loudest, liveliest place in the region. So what about now? Now, when you step into Thurmond, you feel like time has frozen. The old train station is still standing, but it's completely empty. Dilapidated wooden buildings, doors creaking in the wind, and silence. Such silence that you can hear your own heartbeat, even the echo of your own social anxiety. Thurmond's 5 residents spend most of the year here alone. When snow closes the roads in winter, their connection to the outside world is completely cut off. No doctor, no grocery store, no signal, just mountains, forest, and those 5 people. Is this a ghost town? Technically no, but the feeling you get, absolutely yes. Would you want to be one of those 5 people, or would you just pass through as a visitor? I'm waiting for your comments. But wait, if Thurmond seems strange to you, you're not ready for number 9, because entering the next town is forbidden. Even if you did get in, you might not be able to get out, at least not in one piece. Gilman, Colorado. When you think of Colorado, ski resorts, luxury mountain homes, and Instagram-worthy views come to mind, right? But what if I told you about a place like this? An abandoned town clinging to the edge of a rocky cliff. Its entrance is blocked by iron barriers, surrounded by signs reading, "Danger, no entry," and, most importantly, the ground is toxic. Gilman, Colorado is perched on a dramatic cliff above the Eagle River at an elevation of 2,400 meters in the Rocky Mountains. It was built in the 1880s for silver and zinc mining and existed as a mining town for over a century. But in 1984, everything changed. The EPA, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, added the town to the Superfund list. What is Superfund? In short, this place is so toxic that federal intervention is needed to clean it up. Years of mining had saturated the soil with heavy metals. The town was emptied in a single night. Now Gilman stands like a ghost on the edge of a cliff. The houses are still there, the furniture is still in place, everything is left as if people were going to return one day. But no one has returned in 40 years. And they can't, because entering here is a federal crime. And here's the truly chilling part. Some adventurers have tried to climb the barriers and get inside. Inside the houses, there are calendars from 1984, rotten food in the refrigerators, children's drawings on the walls. It's like being on a movie set, but this movie never ends. Gilman is still private property. The owners say they want to revive the town, but nothing has happened in 40 years. Maybe some places just want to stay dead. And if Gilman's story unsettled you, you're definitely not ready for number 8. Because to reach the next town, you first have to cross Alaska's most desolate mountains. And what awaits you there? An icy silence and century-old ghosts. Kennecott, Alaska, one of the most remote, wildest, most unforgiving places on Earth. And right in the heart of this landscape, Within Wrangell Street, Elias National Park, at the end of a 14-hour dirt road, lies Kennecott. Yes, you heard that right. A 14-hour dirt road, just mountains, glaciers, and massive industrial structures dating back to the early 1900s. Kennecott was a mining town that operated one of the world's richest copper deposits from 1900 to 1938. At its peak, over 600 workers lived, worked, descended into mine shafts, and extracted copper from the depths of the mountain. The town was completely self-sufficient. It had a school, a hospital, a tennis court, even an ice skating rink. But in 1938, copper prices plummeted. The company shut down operations overnight, and everyone left. They left so quickly that machines were left running in the factory. Now Kennecott rises from the snow, its massive red-painted buildings and rusted metal structures. The National Park Service preserves some of the buildings, but most of the town remains untouched. Many who visit say the same thing. I felt like someone was watching me. Maybe it's the psychological pressure created by the mountains. Maybe it's the paranoia brought on by isolation. Or maybe there are still people there. At least the echoes of those who were once there. Getting to Kennecott isn't easy, but for those who make it, it's unforgettable. In a good way or a scary way, that's up to you. Now let's head a little south from Alaska. But don't relax, because number 7 takes you deep into the Rocky Mountains to Colorado's best preserved ghost town. And what awaits you there isn't abandoned houses. Street Elmo, Colorado. If I ever got into a time machine and traveled back to a mining town in the 1880s, I'd probably think it looked like Street Elmo, because this town hasn't changed much at all. Street Elmo is located in the Sawatch Mountains of Colorado, at an altitude of over 3,000 meters. It was founded in 1880 for gold and silver mining and quickly grew to a population of 2,000. There were hotels, bars, a telegraph office, everything. But in 1922, the railroad line closed, and the town slowly emptied out, but it wasn't completely abandoned. That's what makes Street Elmo unique. Today, Street Elmo is one of America's best preserved ghost towns. Over 40 original structures still stand. Walking down the main street, you can see the general store from the 1880s, the old post office, and the innkeeper's house. The doors creak, the windows are broken, but the buildings stand tall. And then there are them, the squirrels. Yes, Street Elmo is famous for its squirrels, but these aren't ordinary squirrels. They're squirrels that have grown accustomed to tourists over generations, almost domesticated, and extremely bold. If you hold chocolate in your hand, you'll be surrounded in an instant. Imagine this. You're walking down the main street of a ghost town. You're surrounded by buildings over 100 years old. The wind slams a door. Just as you start to shiver, a squirrel jumps on your shoulder and asks for a nut. Horror? Comedy? A bit of both. But jokes aside, Street Elmo has a dark side. There are dozens of accounts of Annabelle Stark's ghost being seen, especially an old woman figure looking out the window of the old hotel building. Camera footage, night shots, paranormal investigator videos, all available on YouTube. Street Elmo. Cute squirrels by day, at night. Maybe something else. We're staying in Colorado for the next town, but this time we're going much higher and to a much more remote place. To reach the town waiting for you at number 6, you'll need a 4x4 vehicle, courage, and a little bit of madness, because the road there is a true adventure movie. But first, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Algorithms don't like this kind of content, but if you do, let's tell YouTube. Now let's continue. Animas Forks, Colorado. 3,400 meters. Yes, 3,400 meters above sea level. And right at that altitude in the middle of the San Juan Mountains, there is a town. Or rather, the remains of a town. Animas Forks was founded in the 1870s. Silver mining quickly made it a popular place. At its peak, 450 people lived here. Imagine, hundreds of people mining at 3,400 meters where winters drop to minus 30 degrees Celsius and the town is buried under snow for months on end. The town's most famous structure is the Walsh House, built in 1879. It's a 2-story, Victorian-style wooden building, and it's still standing. Yes, for 145 years at that altitude in those harsh conditions, it's still standing tall. But the real story of Animas Forks is its inaccessibility. impossibility. To get here, you have to follow a mountain road starting from Silverton, known as the Alpine Loop. This road, how should I put it, is like something out of a horror movie. It's single lane, no guardrails, one side a cliff, the other rocky. A high clearance vehicle is a must. Driving in the rain is suicide, and in winter, it's completely closed. Imagine you're slowly climbing up the mountainside. Your heart races at every turn. Then suddenly in the middle of the valley, you see rusted tin roofs and wooden structures on the verge of collapse. There's no grass, no trees, just rocks, patches of snow, and silence. And there you are, at 3,400 meters, the feeling most shared by visitors to Animas Forks. I felt like I shouldn't be there. It's as if the town wants people to leave, as if existing at that altitude, in that isolation, is a kind of stubbornness. And of course, paranormal claims are not lacking. Ghosts of old miners, voices coming from Walsh House, figures appearing in nighttime footage. They're all there. There are videos of all of them. If you're brave enough, search for Animas Forks Haunted on YouTube. But don't say I didn't warn you not to watch it at night. Now let's head a bit east. Number 5 takes us to Montana, and the story of the town waiting for us there, Bannack, Montana, Gold Rush. This concept defines one of the wildest, most chaotic, and most ruthless periods in American history, and Bannack, Montana is a product of that very era. In 1862, gold was discovered at Grasshopper Creek, and suddenly, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the mountains, a town was born. Within a year, the population exceeded 3,000. Bannack became the first official capital of the Montana Territory. Yes, the first capital. It was that important, but Bannack's real fame came from its lawlessness. Robberies, murders, and revenge killings were a daily occurrence in the town. So much so that a group of citizens formed the Vigilance Committee. This group began to administer its own justice. No judge, no jury, just a rope and a tree. Now Bannack is a ghost town and a Montana state park. Over 60 original structures still stand, and among them, the site where Henry Plummer was hanged is preserved. Do you know what this place makes you feel? Revenge. Unfinished business, unfinished stories. Visitors to Bannack, especially those who wander the town at night, say they hear strange sounds, footsteps, whispers, and there are dozens of reports of a child's ghost being seen on the second floor of the Hotel Mead. It is said to be a girl who died in the 1916 diphtheria epidemic. Imagine, you're walking down Bannack's main street at midnight, moonlight falls on the old buildings, an owl hoots in the distance, and you know that 150 years ago, people were hanged, shot, and killed on that same ground. That ground is still the same ground, and maybe those stories are still the same stories. Bannack, a town that welcomed gold seekers, adventure seekers, and perhaps even trouble seekers. And now, for number 4, we move on to a completely different story. We return to Colorado, but this time, the town we're looking for is almost inaccessible. There's no road, just a trail, a river, and that famous structure, Crystal Mill. Crystal, Colorado. You've probably seen it at least once on Instagram. A wooden structure right next to a waterfall in the middle of the forest. Enchanting, fairy tale-like, picture perfect. But have you ever wondered how to get there? Crystal, Colorado is located in the heart of the Elk Mountains at an elevation of 2,900 meters. And the road you must take to get there is known as one of America's most dangerous off-road routes. You start from the town of Marble. The first few kilometers are normal. Then the asphalt ends. The dirt road begins. Then the dirt road narrows. It turns into a single-lane trail. On one side, a steep cliff. On the other, a rocky wall. And on this road, vehicles regularly roll off the cliff. Yes, regularly. Rescue operations are carried out every year. But after all this risk, when you arrive in Crystal, you find a place where history has frozen. Crystal was founded in 1881 for silver mining. At its peak, 650 people lived there. 5 hotels, a newspaper, a butcher, a bakery. It had everything. But by 1915, the town was almost completely abandoned. Now, only a handful of structures remain in Crystal, and the most famous of these is the Crystal Mill, built in 1893. It's not actually a mill, but a compressor station. It was used to supply air to the mines, but it looks so impressive that everyone calls it a mill. Imagine this. After hours of arduous travel, you descend into a valley. The Crystal River flows before you, and right next to the river, you see a wooden structure that has stood in the same place for over a century. There is no one around, just the sound of water, birds chirping, and absolute peace. But wait, there's something peculiar about Crystal. A few people still live in the town. They show up during the summer months, but in winter, The town is completely covered in snow and inaccessible. Those few people spend their months completely isolated from the outside world. Some call it paradise, others call it madness. For the next town, we're heading to Connecticut. Yes, the East Coast. And the place waiting for us there is a village said to be cursed. Its name alone is unsettling, dark entry forest. Dudleytown, Connecticut. Every country has its own legend of a cursed village. England has Pluckley, and America has Dudleytown. Nestled among dense forests in the Litchfield Hills region of northwestern Connecticut lies Dudleytown, and the story of this village is dark. In the 1740s, the Dudley family settled in this area. They had emigrated from England, and according to legend, a curse hung over the family. And ever since that day, disaster befell everyone bearing the Dudley surname. Did this curse continue in Dudleytown? That's what the stories say. The villagers experienced tragedy after tragedy. By the mid-1800s, the village was almost completely abandoned. People were fleeing, and those who remained were changing. Imagine, autumn. The leaves have fallen. You're walking through a dense forest. Your GPS isn't working. All around you are trees and silence. Then you see the remains of a foundation. There was a house here. People lived here. Now there is nothing. Nothing at all. Just earth, stones, and stories. Dudleytown. Is it truly cursed or just an unlucky village? Perhaps the absence of answers to some questions is more terrifying than the answers themselves. Comment below, do you believe in curses or do you think everything has a logical explanation? And now, we're heading to California for number 2, in the Sierra Nevada mountains to one of America's most famous ghost towns. And it has a peculiar feature. If you take something from there, you'll be cursed. Bodie, California. If I had to choose the most iconic town on this list, I would probably choose Bodie, because Bodie is not just a ghost town. Bodie is a legend. It is located in eastern California at the foot of the Sierra Nevada mountains at an altitude of 2,500 meters. It was founded in 1859 after gold was discovered and had grown into a massive town of 10,000 people by the 1880s. At that time, Bodie was California's second largest city, but Bodie's fame came not so much from its wealth as from its savagery. On average, one murder was committed in the town every day. Bar fights, gambling debts, women issues. Everything could end in death. It is said that a child who heard the news that we are moving to Bodie wrote the following in his diary: "Goodbye, God. I'm going to Bodie." Such was the town's notorious reputation. Now, Bodie is a California state historic park. Over 170 structures are still standing, and most importantly, the town is preserved in a state of arrested decay. Nothing is restored, nothing is rebuilt. It is simply left as it is. Inside the houses are furniture, kitchenware, and even cups on the tables from the 1940s. It's as if people were going to return one day. And here's Bodie's most famous story, the Curse of Bodie. It is believed that bad things happen to anyone who takes anything from the town: a stone, a nail, a piece of glass, whatever it may be. And this is not just a legend. Dozens of packages arrive at the Bodie Foundation every year. Inside are items that visitors took and returned, saying, "Please take this back, I'm cursed." There are letters with them. "I lost my job after taking this stone. I had a car accident." Coincidence? Maybe. But if thousands of people claim to have experienced the same thing, imagine, you're walking down Bodie's main street, the sun is setting, the shadows are lengthening, you look inside a house through a window, the table is set, the chairs are pulled out as if someone were about to eat, but there's no one inside. Maybe there hasn't been anyone for 100 years. And on the ground, you see a shiny stone. It's so easy to pick it up and put it in your pocket. Who would know? But you know. And now you're asking yourself, what if? Here are the 10 strangest, most terrifying, most unbelievable mountain towns in the United States. In some, fires have been burning underground for years. In others, curses have been passed down through generations. In yet others, 5 people live isolated from the rest of the world. Each of these towns represents a hidden truth behind America's bright, smiling, postcard-perfect facade. Every story has a dark side. So, which one would you like to visit? Or none of them? Write your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss. And if you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, because we'll continue to discover more strange, creepy, and mind-boggling places. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. See you in the next video. Until then, drive carefully, and if you accidentally end up in one of these towns, well, good luck.